Mike's live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Nate Manahan, and I am live here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where we are going to have one of the best May Days you could possibly ever imagine. Did you know that May Day is International Workers' Day, and we want to celebrate all those who have been serving us, the essential workers across the U.S. Thank you so much for your service. Today, we're going to be talking about Jeff Bezos, who has a bunch of essential workers working for him. What might have been if he had never founded Amazon? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about, how would you treat yourself if you were actually having a perfect day and just do it just by yourself? How would you treat yourself? And then we're going to have a wonderful guest. Kai Su is here from HotSauce. All this and more on The High Five.
The time has come, the questions are said, opinions hide, discussions are led, a show about nothing and everything, it's all the same. We've got sports, entertainment, sales, and marketing. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered. It's time for the High Five. We've got it all covered. Yeah. The High Five.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I am so glad that I can bring up across the pond of, well, not really across the pond, but everywhere, all over the United States. As I bring them up, we have our incredible panelists. We're going to start in the lower corner, or on the bottom, who got the bottom square today in our Hollywood Squares game. The man, the myth, the legend from Glenwood Springs, Colorado, where elk are absolutely reproducing at record numbers. I don't know that Danny Schard has anything to do with that, but he may. How are you, Mr. Danny Schard?
I don't have anything to do with it. Good morning, Nate. Good morning, High Five Nation. Home of the elk. It never gets old. It's a new month. I'm super excited.
We are celebrating that May is here. May is one of the months that is usually one of the best months of the year. And do we ever need it this year? It's a new start. It's a new beginning. And we absolutely must get going. And that is the type of energy that Brian Linke brings to us from Warsaw, Indiana, the orthopedic capital of the Indiana, well, of the world, where there are more hips and knees than there are people floating around all over the place. Mr. Brian Linke. How are you, Brian Linke?
I'm great, Nate. Thanks again. And let me tell you something. My introduction wasn't even close to what D. Shards is, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But sun is shining in Indiana. It's supposed to be 75 degrees this weekend, and feeling good about it.
Well, one of these days, I'm actually going to script these introductions. Some days they get better than others. It may just show how late I was up before I actually got up and get going on this. And our special guest, it's a Friday, and we always have to have a special guest. And this week, well, we just keep getting better. In the upper left-hand corner of our screen, the man, the myth, the legend. He's an international man of mysterious things, I'm not sure. He is a CEO of HotSauce. He is a connoisseur of wine. The only man, when I had a meeting with him in Houston, said, "Oh, I've got one of my sommeliers there." Oh, yeah, I love that. And there is Mr. Kai Su. How are you, Kai?
I'm good. Thank you, guys. Hello, High Five Nation. I'm coming to you live from the homestead here. And on my second cup of, my wife thinks it's a second cup of coffee, but actually it's a second cup of Bloody Mary. So I'm feeling real good. I'm ready to go.
Here's what I know. Okay, we have Kai Su. Okay, the panelists. I mean, okay, Jen Sales the first yesterday. Kai Su today. How much money is it cost? I thought I was getting a bonus at the beginning of this month, but no. I was just told that the bonus is going towards getting Kai Su and Jen Sales on the High Five. It's ridiculous.
Love it.
Well, I'd like to know, Brian, where they sent that money, because I sure haven't seen it yet. But
it's coming.
Knowing.
It's in escrow. It's good. It's
yes, that's right.
It is absolutely something that the check is in the mail, and it's just like the checks that come from the IRS. Who knows when the heck that's coming to you?
I'll take your word for it.
All right, we have incredible things to talk about, but we're going to start this morning with one of our recurring, little pieces that we call. That's right, what might have been. What might have been if Jeff Bezos, the CEO and founder of Amazon.com. And we've heard this week that he's back involved during the last couple of weeks in the day-to-day operations. He had been thinking big picture. He literally flies rockets that are going to land on the moon and go to Mars. He founded Amazon after leaving a hedge fund after being a McDonald's employee in down in little South Florida. And what we learned a couple days ago, that maybe he went to school with one of our panelists and was in the same high school as one of our panelists. So what we want to know is what might have been if Amazon had never been put together. So I'm going to ask Brian Linke. Brian, do you know anything about Jeff Bezos?
I know that Jeff Bezos went to graduated from Miami Palmetto High School in South Dade County. And what people don't know is that, yes, I did graduate from Boca Raton High School, went there for 3 years. But my freshman year of high school, I attended Miami Palmetto High School. And he just beat me to it. He just beat me to it because we're around the same age, and he just had the idea before I did. And so I'm here talking to you, Nate, and he's flying rockets to the moon.
He is. Well, that's one of the things we want to talk about today is what happens, and we always this is what might have been. What would have happened? Would Amazon is the driving force behind e-commerce, and they have certainly helped lay the roadmap for everyone else. They have pushed every organization from a Walmart to a Best Buy, all the bricks and mortars. They've pushed several, like the Kmarts, out of business. They have driven the small and local business, and it's because of how Jeff Bezos has founded from the early 90s to today as a just an online bookstore to where it's just the behemoth of everything that is delivered. If Jeff Bezos wouldn't have founded, would there have been an Amazon? What was unique about Jeff's play when it came to e-commerce? Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, it took a little bit to catch on, right? I mean, obviously it was books first, but I mean, gosh, to see what they've done, I mean, and how many different industries they've pushed, right? And like you said, pushed out, but also made them like elevate their game. And we're going to keep seeing that from Amazon. I mean, even in the payments industry, right? What is it? Is it Amazon Pay? Is that what it is?
Yep.
That's starting to gain some traction. So it's just amazing what these large organizations with the capital that they can grow from their original businesses and how they're just making it go out. I was actually really intrigued by this question because earlier, was it this week or last week, we had what might have been if Square hadn't come up. And this one's even more intriguing because it just reaches such a wider range of things that all of us can relate to.
One of the things I was thinking about is that Amazon has set the precedent at they don't make all their money on how we use them. Their money is not made from all the products that we buy. It's the Amazon Web Services. It's the operations. They figured out how to get things and products to us the fastest. They were the first to do this Prime thing. At first, I think, if I remember right, it was $79. I think there may have been like a $39. There's been a student. Now we just pay $129 a year just to get faster products. They software as a service has nothing on the subscription as a service that they've put together, and they've created unique ways to make money. What have they modeled for us, Kai, to how that when we're filling a business, as a CEO of a business, how you make money? Because they've chosen to go revenue streams separate from what most people see them as actually doing. They don't make their money from the toilet paper. They make their money from Amazon Web Services, from all the logistics that they're running. How can we learn from that? And what was Jeff Bezos' secret sauce?
I think that's a very interesting question, and I remember when Amazon first started and when they first went public, and one of their key messages has always been that it takes X number of dollars to bring in that one customer, right? Everybody has to spend that advertising dollar. So their whole strategy, I remember back then, it was that let's build out this platform. It's not about selling books. It's not about selling clothing. It's more of a complete platform where, hey, once we spend that money bringing in a loyal customer, what are other services and what are other products that we can continue selling to them? And I think, to me, that's kind of the biggest takeaway from that whole Amazon platform. And, in terms of what we can be learning from it, I think it's very applicable to what we're doing in the payments industry, right? I know most of our NAB agents, they have at their disposal an arsenal of things, not just payment processing, whether it's whether it's the cash the cash advance, whether it's POS systems like ours that we partner with you guys on. There's a lot of things that our agents now have that can make this relationship really sticky and really building a loyal customer.
I think cash discount was what you were looking for as well.
Yep.
Correct.
Well, and I was wondering here about Kai, and Kai comes from a variety, and we probably should have done a little more setup. He is from HotSauce. He came in from an investment banking industry, and I'd be interested in this question. One of the things Amazon was able to do when they went public was they were able to not be profitable for how many quarters? I forget the number, hundreds of quarters. Yes. And they convinced their investors that they were just reinvesting and that the long-term play, and they certainly, the investors rewarded them with that. And any of those who bought in early in the stock and were able to hold on have been well rewarded multiple times over. What do we learn in the payments about being long-term minded? Because now obviously they were allowed to do that because of their investments, but what can we learn as small and medium businesses about the long play versus the short play that Amazon could teach us?
I think looking at Amazon, I think that was the right move for them because they have a business that in order for it to remain sustainable, you need a large influx of cash, and that's what Jeff Bezos did early on and took that when he took the company public. And I think even after their initial public offering, they had a couple other rounds where they brought in more funding. While I do agree with that type of a strategy for certain businesses, I think there are times that we have to be careful too, in terms of going public too quickly, and going to put ourselves in positions that makes us kind of financially that puts us gives us some financial liabilities, if you will. And I think we can see that right now with a lot of business out there, even some in our own industries and in the POS industries, where I know some of our peers in this group have gone public, probably grew a little too fast. It was a little too ambitious, and now having to lay off the majority of their workforce. So those are the type of things that I think as business we have to be careful about, and really understanding for each of our own business, what is the best strategy and what is the best path for us in terms of growth.
Those are all great answers. You know what I thought as soon as I saw the question?
What do you think, Brian?
Okay. What might have been, I'd have less stuff and I'd be closer to retirement because I wouldn't have spent nearly as much money.
Too convenient.
As soon as I saw the question, that's all I could think about.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. They have made it so easy. It's way too easy. And that's one of the things that's actually been helpful in this pandemic is that Amazon, suddenly can't fulfill things being at my house within 48 minutes. But unfortunately, they figured it out. It took them about 4 weeks, but now I can get it all again. And so I'm like going through the Prime Now list and going, man, I could have that here in a half an hour. Let's get that there. But they made shopping so much easier. And you're right, Brian. What might have been, Brian would already be down in Florida, sitting on the beach, drinking a Mai Tai.
Believe me, I'd have less stuff and more money.
Yep.
All right, let's go to number 2. So I want to ask this question. I think what types of businesses are already thriving in the current environment that we're in? What kind of businesses are fighting and just need some insurgent, whether it's capital or time or energy, they need to tweak some things. And then what kind of businesses just need to pivot or get out? Because you know what? They're not going to be businesses in the future. And so I was just trying to think, ask the gentleman, what are some businesses and types of businesses? So I'm going to start us out because I get the first. And so sometimes for me, I think if you're in commercial real estate, run. We're going to learn there's going to be commercial real estate. We're all going to have businesses at some point. But, there is a huge struggle right now to rethink how we're going to do commercial real estate. And I really think, unfortunately, the companies, and I know Kai's been working on some of these things, so I'd be interested in what he thinks about this. But I think there's going to be a resurgence about the ability to do the co-working space, to have that things, maybe a WeWork that actually has a right culture for those who have followed those stories and actually has a profit margin and not just simply spending cash and never making any, back to our previous. But what are some other businesses that are really thriving, like some of the big end and high end retail and the grocery retail? some that are, fighting and going to come on the other side even stronger and better, and which ones are just need to pivot and go someplace else? What are some of your ideas on that concept?
Do you want me to take it, or
go for it, Kai? Yep, go for it.
Sure. I think, I think we all can pretty much guess that right now all the online businesses are doing very well, right? All the online shopping, and I know that for a fact because just watching my wife, I think she feels a personal responsibility to make sure that she saves the American economy. So I see boxes coming in every day, and so let me tell you, if you guys get a chance, send Grace an email. She is a true American hero at this point, the way that she's kind of taken about that responsibility on her own. So I think a lot of these the online stores are doing great. One that I think is going to be doing great once the opening up starts happening is hair salons. Because I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to get a haircut. So I think these guys are going to get flooded.
I think that's right. And I think guys, what do you think on the hair salons? Those who were able to sustain and not be open for 4 to 7 weeks, depending on the state and the location, and just not have any service. Some were being creative and doing some, porch runs, or we saw a lot of the big salons. They were actually putting kits, self-care kits that they would drop off and do porch drop-offs for their clients and customers for like coloring and basic, things that a lot of people, not myself, were getting done weekly. But what do you think are the things, if they're able to sustain, what are the things that will help them thrive as we get to the other side for like hair salons? And then Danny, I'm interested, what do you think, you're in a smaller community up in the mountains of Rocky Mountains. Are there businesses there that are going to thrive or are thriving right now that may not be in other places?
Well, first of all, just to real quick reverse back to Kai's question that he got, liquor stores are killing it right now, by the way. I know that. So they're up and continue to go up. Hence our copy.
That was my answer. This is why you can't go fourth in this thing.
No, and I like on the hair salons, right? I mean, they're doing how-to videos. They're really just being creative to help their customer base kind of stay looking as good as they possibly can. But it's failing miserably because these people did not go to cosmetology school or barber school or anything like that. Some of the things they do though, and we're seeing a lot of it is, kind of preparing for that wave. And I think Kai is absolutely right that we're going to see these just spike tremendously once these things open up, right? Even as things open up on a slower scale, 25% capacity and things like that, people are just going to flood, and these salons are going to be scheduled out 30 days, in the very near future. So that being said, I think a lot of them, and we're seeing it, are investing in point of sale systems and different things that they can do and have to make them more efficient while they prepare for the wave. Here in the mountains of Colorado, gosh, it seems like things are slowly getting back to normal. I'm seeing just a lot of folks rallying around these restaurants, right? It's really cool in this small community, what we're seeing the people do to rally around these restaurants. But golf courses are crushing it. Every golf course is open. And in fact, I know most of the GMs and pros at a lot of these golf courses, and they're way up from where they were from last year. So people are just getting out more, right? It's one of the activities that you can do to get out of the house and maintain social distancing and be safe, and still kind of do some activity and have a little bit of fun and try to escape what's really going on. So I'm seeing a lot of that here, and I think we're starting to see it all over the place too. Yep.
And I like to add that I think, once we go back to doing business the way it used to be, obviously a lot of things are going to be changing. I do believe that, as these restaurants come back, one of the things that we will see, at least for the short term, is that a lot of people are actually going to be doing to-go orders, those type of things. People are going to be trying to make sure they have less exposure if they can help it. So those are the type of things that I know we're talking to a lot of our aging community today. Those are the type of things that you guys may want to look into. Online ordering, those type of products, because I think you'll find that there's going to be a lot of interest out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading some articles with some interviews. I think it was, I can't remember which, but one of the investor articles I was reading. And they were talking and they were asking the CEOs of places like Kroger and places like Walmart, what do you expect? Do you expect people to start coming back to your store at the percentages? Because their sales have been going up, but they're seeing their click list for Kroger and the Whole Foods delivery through Amazon or Instacart has done really well on the number of deliveries. And their expectation is they think they will never get back to more than 60% of people coming to the brick and mortar store. And that means that we've literally in 7 weeks changed how we do business and how we shop, and a lot of it will never go back. We've learned that we only have to go to the grocery store once a week, and we can plan ahead and do things. And I think those are things that are going to, obviously, because one, we're not out of the woods yet, and there are pockets of little, things that are going to happen. We're going to have to be responsive. Business is going to be different, so you guys start looking for what businesses are going to actually be really good at it and good at this new economy and these new ways to do it. Are there any businesses you guys think, as you look at, that are just absolutely, man, they're going to really struggle as this comes and changes and we start living our new way of life?
Well, I think restaurant owners that aren't, and I can speak from my personal, some of my merchants that just aren't savvy enough. I'm trying to help them as we speak every single day, that aren't savvy enough to get on and do the online order, because we've got a lot of restaurants. It's kind of like where Danny lives. It's a small little community, and but there are a lot of restaurants around here that I think have developed a new niche that they never knew that they had. This online ordering thing. A lot of them are doing really, really well, to the point of where they sell out just about every single night. And so I think that's something that they're going to continue to do, even when they open again. And it's something that, you were always able to take out, but I think now they've come to the, doing the whole family, style thing with the, for 4 people for $40 you get this. And I think it's just something that they've never had before. They didn't know. And I think they're going to continue to do it. But the ones that are fighting are the ones that are less savvy, on Facebook and the internet and websites and things like that. So those are the ones I think that are going to struggle.
Yeah, and I would partially agree with that. I mean, just not really changing their approach and pivoting like they should be. But I'll go away from that and say a lot of clothing stores, shoe stores. Even I think in our small town here, we've got a lot of little jewelry stores and gem stores and toy stores, and kind of it's a very large tourist area, right? And so they'll have lunch and go hit the shops kind of thing. And I think it's going to be a while before folks start flocking to these tourist areas and feel comfortable going into those places and shopping. And not just in tourist areas though, right? Like a lot of even small communities that these small mom and pop clothing and shoe stores are how people, most of their customer base is local. And I think they're really going to be struggling coming out of this, because a lot of their customer base has pivoted and is now ordering online and kind of getting anything that they need online as opposed to going to the store. So I think those are going to have a tough time staying afloat as we get on the tail end of this.
But I will say something, and Danny made me aware of it a couple of weeks ago. And I was a 1099 sales agent for Paperwork Tech for I don't know, 6 or 7 years before they brought me inside. Since I was so good at selling outside, they brought me inside. But I looked at my portfolio, and right now, sales wise, April was my largest month. January, February, and March. April was larger than those 3 months of doing business. Now, again, I don't have that many restaurants that are in my portfolio. I've got a lot of little ones, but there is hope out there, because there are people that are processing, and we just need to go find who they are. And like Danny said, liquor stores, little grocery stores are doing well. The ones that have been able to stay open when everything else is closed. So yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Absolutely. I totally agree with what you gentlemen are saying. I think at the end of the day, any traditional business where there's an online alternative, or substitute is I think is going to be suffering. I think even places like movie theaters, for example. How many of us now are going to be using Netflix more and probably going less to a movie theater? So those type of things I think are definitely going to be impacted.
Oh, yeah, believe me, my cable bill is almost double because these people in my house, 2 to 3 movies a night. It's unbelievable.
That's right. That's right.
I think.
Oh, I did see Georgia's opening. Bowling alleys I saw, and a few things, and I'm kind of shocked. I don't know how much traffic they're going to get because I think people are still very concerned. But I don't know how comfortable I feel about putting my hands in a rented bowling ball.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm probably going to be sticking with Netflix for a while. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who has any type of business that has no online component and no capability to disperse and I think for you, obviously, any tourism-based businesses are going to struggle for a while. We just got to help them out. We got to figure it out. Obviously, we've bailed out the airlines and figured out some of that, at least for a period of time. But people are just scared. And that's going to take a little bit of time for us to get over. And then there's going to be pockets. We have a small town here in Indiana that, they had one cluster. Everybody showed up at a basketball game, and then suddenly they have the highest percentage of death rate, and it's a small little town. And no one was around. It's not the Indianapolis. It's not the metropolitan areas. So there's going to be little pockets of things that we're going to learn about. But those who don't have any online or any way to change their model, they're going to struggle. And I don't know. It was a fascinating back and forth between the CEO of AMC and the CEO of Universal this past week. And if you haven't seen that, go read some of the articles on that as they went back and forth about the movie experiences. Because Trolls, which was direct to the whatever they call it, direct to digital ordering for $20, made $100 million and was one of the most profitable and made more money this way than they did before the movie theaters. Now, obviously, they weren't competing against each other, but Universal's floating the boat. Is that the way people want to watch movies now? And does that change? So all those things have changed. That conversation could go on for a long time. So we're going to start with our number 3. Last night, I am a huge Parks and Rec fan, and I want to thank Amy Poehler and the team, Michael Schur, and all those who put together a great episode, just a fun episode of everybody catching up for those who are Parks and Rec fans. But if you're not a Parks and Rec fan, you probably know this term that hit the zeitgeist back around 7-8 years ago when they first aired it, and it was the ability to say treat yourself. And I thought I would be interested in hearing these gentlemen say, if you have one day where you're just going to pamper yourself, you don't have to be dad, you don't have to be husband, you're just going to pamper yourself, do something just for yourself, what would that be? How do you treat yourself? Let's start with Brian Linke, because I'm intrigued. Brian, how do you treat yourself?
I think the question should be, what are you going to do to treat yourself now? Like this weekend. That's how I read it.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Well, because believe me, to treat myself, if you're going to just give me the entire gamut, believe me, we don't have enough time on this show. But so I'm just going to go with what I'm going to do to treat myself this weekend. And I know one thing that I'm not going to be doing, because I've got 2 big, strong boys that live in this house now, is I'm not going to be doing any physical labor out and around my house. I can tell you that right now. Little do they know that they're going to be doing all of it. They don't know it yet, but they're about to. I think they're still in bed, but they're about to get up here in a minute. I think what I'm going to do to treat myself, I already thought about it, 75 and sunny, the pool's open, I'm getting in it. And, I've ordered myself a banana yellow Speedo from Amazon.
Okay.
And,
whoa, too much information. I can take you off this call.
I've got a blueberry, and I've got a watermelon, and a lime green, and now I've got a banana yellow to add to it, and I'm getting in the pool.
Poor Brenda Linke.
So that's my answer. So again, I read the question what are you going to do to treat yourself? Because it says here this weekend. Right, so
you're right. You're right. I was thinking. So you guys can answer it however you want to. This is listener interpretation when it comes to my questions that I put together.
So that's what I'm doing this weekend.
All right.
We're going to barbecue. We're going to get in the pool. We're going to relax. We're going to enjoy the sunshine.
Perfect. All right. because I was 100% confident you're going to mention somehow the Cubs games, because that's what I would treat myself today.
Yeah, but there's I believe me. I talked to the guy yesterday at the Cubs. There's no Cubs games. Well, I'm getting refunded for games that aren't going to be played through May. So the Major League Baseball is actually looking at starting, if anything, no earlier than June 1st. And I don't even know if that means there's fans in the seats. But I was joking with the guy yesterday. I finally, after like 19 years, and again, I've said this before, of being on the waiting list for the Chicago Cubs, I finally get it and get my seats. Unbelievable. And there's no season. But, oh well. We'll be there next year.
All right.
Yeah. That's
all
tough.
right. Kai, tell me, how would you treat, you can take the question however you want, but what's one way you would treat yourself?
Nate, I've been treating myself every day because, for my family, I am, so everybody else is kind of quarantined, right? And I'm the person that goes out and procures stuff for us every day. And I use that opportunity to swing by Burger King and pick up the 2 Whoppers for $6 every day. And I'll wolf those things down without Grace knowing about it. So I've been treating myself every day.
That is awesome. Oh, are you got a special order, a little extra pickle, get it your way at Burger King? Isn't that their tagline? You can get it whatever your way.
That is true, but I'm very easy. I like it the way they have it.
All right. I wasn't thinking.
Plus I'm Asian, man. I want to get my money's worth. I want everything on there. If I'm paying for it, don't leave out anything,
I like that.
I want my value.
Oh, I did not think treat yourself would mean Burger King today, but I am always surprised. I love it.
Have it your way.
I feel like Burger King, if they see this broadcast, should come and pay me for that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we should have like a little logo right next to you.
Yeah.
I know, right?
The little king pops up, scaring all of us.
Greed is good.
If Nate has the ability to put the Burger King crown on you, he should go ahead and do that.
All right, Danny Schard, can you tell me? Let's know, how would you treat yourself?
Well, I'm gonna take the Linky approach, and I'm gonna talk about this weekend. So, got a big weekend planned. Getting the wife all set up. She loves gardening and doing her green thumb, so she's getting pots and flowers and all this. So we're doing that, and that's the way she's gonna treat herself. And then I'm gonna hit the golf course Saturday morning, and then we're gonna take a little ride up in the mountains on Sunday. So
nice.
Good Colorado weekend.
So domestic you are.
Very good stuff, man.
Big change, man.
Oh.
All right, and I'll answer the question, and then we'll jump to number 4, because one of the things for me, and I was thinking a little bit that what would I do for a perfect day of just pampering myself, that if I didn't have the work that I'm going to have this weekend, because I'm not treating myself this weekend. But one of the things I would love, a perfect day, fly into Las Vegas. I get off the plane, get into Vegas like 7 a.m, get to the hotel, check all my stuff in, the room's ready, clean, everything's there. I'm staying at the Delano. I walk just outside the Delano, go across into the Mandalay Bay shops, go to the Art of Shaving and let them shave me, trim everything up, go. I take that and then I walk down to the spa at Mandalay Bay, spend about 3 or 4 hours in the spa. And that is how I would treat myself today, because, man, I could use that like 6-hour experience and just be totally relaxed by the end of the day. So that's where I was going. But
I love that. That's like
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Nate always has to one-up everybody, doesn't he?
Guys go at Burger King. Nate's at the spa at the Mandalay Bay.
Right, I'm in my pool in my Speedo.
It's okay, Nate. I'll join you in Vegas because I know they have quite a few Burger Kings out there too. So we're good.
Exactly. I mean, and you could even splurge and do an In-N-Out when you're in Vegas. You could compare and contrast. But maybe you're a Burger King loyal.
That is good.
Know.
That is good stuff.
So.
But I do feel like the In-N-Out, and hopefully I'm not insulting anybody from Las Vegas here, but I do feel like the In-N-Out burger in Vegas is not quite the same as the one in Cali. The ones in Cali.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally agree. All right, number 4. Here's one of the things we want to talk about. So we have a CEO of HotSauce. We've been talking POS companies all week, and our last topics, the last two topics today, are going to be a little POS centric. Across the United States, we've identified over 10,000 different POS companies. Some are niche and focusing in very small and just have a few locations, and others are all across the United States. They're serving hundreds of thousands of merchants, and they're doing things from, huge multi-level, multi-location to just a mom and pop and 7 SKUs. But one of the things merchants have to identify, and our partners who are selling, they have to figure out, how do I know whether this partner is going to exist? If I'm going to help sell this POS, I'm going to put my payments on it, I'm going to walk in and put that in front of the merchant. How do we know which ones are going to exist? We're seeing all the stories of some of our competitors cutting their staffs by half, trying to figure out how to sustain during this time. And I know, Kai, you've been working hard to help HotSauce, and this is not your first recession. This is obviously bigger than 2008 in some ways right now, but it's not your first rodeo when it comes to this. What are things you see, and why is HotSauce sustaining during this time? And what are things partners can look for when they're talking to POS companies to make sure they're working with someone that's not just going to go away in a year, 6 months, whichever time period? Absolutely.
Thank you for that. We have a couple programs right now that we've designed that's meant to help not only the merchants, also the agent community to be able to go out there during this time of uncertainty, but still be able to have that conversation and have that interest in new customers signing up. But before I talk about those things, because you're seeing different POS companies, everybody to a certain extent, we all have, or a lot of us anyway, have various programs. Showing that as a POS company that we care and that we want to take care of our communities. But to me, before we even talk about what we can do for our agents, for our merchants, I think it's most important to start at home and take care of the home front. And from that perspective, that's probably one of the proudest thing. Sorry, I had a phone call come in, so I had to decline it. But one of the things I am most proud of here at HotSauce is that when this whole crisis started, and this is even before the payroll protection was introduced, we had already made a commitment. We took a look at our finances, talked to our board members, and we had made a commitment to save every job at HotSauce. And we've committed to doing that. And this is, again, before payroll protection came. We had committed to making sure that all of our people stay intact through the end of June. So that's something that I think I'm very proud of. But I think that it's something that also can help in conversations when you're talking to your customers, because at the end of the day, I think merchants want to work, especially if they're investing in a solution like a POS. You want to work with someone that is going to be around, that they've been financially responsible and are able to take care of themselves, and it will be around for the long term to service that merchant. So that I think that's one of the things that we've done, and I think that we've done well compared to some of the other POS competitors out there. And then in addition to that, a couple things that we're doing that I think is going to help our agent community as well as our merchants is the first one is we're doing a partnership with NAB where new merchants that are coming on now will get to defer their monthly payment for 2 months. And we all know in 2 months we're all going to be back working. Restaurants are going to be working, live again and whatnot. But, this is the best time for a lot of these restaurateurs or a lot of, merchants to be planning, be taking care of business and getting ready for that opening. And POS obviously is one of those things that they could and should be looking at. But the question is, how do you get them to jump? How do you get them to go ahead and sign up and use this time wisely while they're at home doing the setups and menu builds and getting that POS ready. So this program hopefully will allow our agents out there to be able to have that conversation, right, with a merchant and say, hey, you know what? This is the best time. you kind of get best of both worlds. You can sign up, start doing all the things you need to do to prepare for that POS coming. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about payments. We understand that right now everything is a little scary, and you don't have to worry about it for 2 months until cash flow starts coming in again once you open back up. So that's the first program that we designed to work with our merchants and agents. The second thing is, we all know that during this time, a lot of restaurants are not able to do dine-in, and they only can do to-go orders and those type of things. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think that trend is going to continue. So one of the things that we have done is during this time, we're trying to help our merchants by giving everybody that is on our online ordering or delivery module, any of our takeout related products, they're just across the board, we're comping 2 months. So they don't pay anything for online ordering for 2 months. And this is kind of our way of giving back because, and helping alleviate some of that cost for them during these times. So I think those are tools that a lot of agents should be looking at, and especially the online ordering part. HotSauce obviously has online ordering. To me, this is the perfect time because you can't be out there knocking on doors. Now is the perfect time to pick up the phone and call your local businesses, right? And tell them about our online ordering product and stuff like that. The way our online ordering works is that, obviously if you're using HotSauce, it's seamlessly integrated. They order, you don't have to re-put that order into your POS. It goes from that online order directly. It prints out your ticket at the kitchen for them to prepare the food and whatnot. But imagine, restaurants that don't have, that are needing a POS and don't have online ordering right now. Now is the perfect time to talk to them because our solution actually can work without the POS. So imagine a mom and pop restaurant that's been thinking about POS that you've been talking to, but imagine being able to call them and say, hey, guess what? Think about switching your merchant processing to us because guess what? With our online ordering product, it allows you to immediately start being able to book sales, right? At the same time, we've also designed our online ordering product to be able to do this, where it is a free product. It is a free product to the merchant. I believe it's like a $5 a monthly fee. And then what we do is we can help merchants by tacking on a convenience fee, right, on the bottom of that order. Very similar to a cash discount type of an idea. You kind of pass that cost. And let's be honest, no one really cares about a $1.50, $1.75 charge, right? Mm-hmm. Convenience fee. So now your merchants get to have a free online ordering solution, even if they don't have HotSauce. And then guess what? Once businesses open back up, you can see them face to face. If they're ready for a POS, guess what? You can immediately talk to them about HotSauce and rolling that in. So sorry, I know I took a long time there, but it's something. These programs are something I'm very excited about. So sorry for taking so long.
Well, let me tell you, so this is an easy show today, right? This is an easy show today. And what else is there to say? Although I will say this. First of all, let me ask you a question for everybody out there. How many employees do you have at HotSauce?
We have about 50 to 60, close to 60 employees. 50
to 60 employees, and you're doing the 2 month promotion with NAB. If our agents aren't sold on the fact that we've got the CEO on here, 50, 60 employees, hasn't let anybody go, made a commitment not to let anybody go, doing the 2 month thing. I mean, that's just awesome stuff, man. I mean, I'm just letting you know, that's just awesome.
Totally agree, man. I mean, really happy to be a partner with you and your team. I mean, it says a lot. And I mean, Kai, when you and I were talking the other day, we brought up Toast. And Nate, you have the numbers. I don't know how much funding they built up, but how many did they lay off? It was astronomical.
Yeah, I think they raised over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion. Yep. And they laid off how many?
I believe 50% of their workforce. Yeah,
I think
50% of their workforce.
pretty much standard across the board. Everybody's doing about 50%, but that's a mixture of furloughs and layoffs. But yeah, I mean, and it's the ability to judge a company about how far over their skis they are. And are they over, because what HotSauce has been able to do is hunker down and hold fort. And as PayProtect, just our entity, we've been able to do that. Our team is our team right now, and we're able to do that. And obviously we can't do, if the current conditions that were April, continue, and really the first 2 weeks of April did it for months, all of us would have to make different decisions. That's realities. But we're also making decisions about, it's helping identify which vendors and which people we want to do that are actually focused. I love it. Kai started, you got to take care of your in-house first, showing that, we're all people. And as Brian Linke says, be a real person, right, Brian?
Right, be a normal person.
Normal person. Yes, I always say real.
Absolutely.
But you got to be.
I appreciate you guys saying that, and it's something that's, we feel strongly about it, and we haven't. It's not just our 50, 60 employees here in the States, but even our international offices, right, in Asia and Europe. We made that same commitment. So we let's keep our fingers crossed, but hopefully by the end of the day, if we don't have to lay anyone off. So
absolutely,
that's awesome.
That's way awesome.
Thank you.
Well, let's transition into our last topic, and I want to make this hypothesis. I think, and I've been doing this now for several years, working in point-of-sale systems, helping our partners sell them and helping merchants choose the right point of sale. And the thing that I've tried to identify is what is the key thing that makes certain point-of-sale systems just stand out from the others. And I think it's two things. One, speed. How quickly can you learn it and how quickly can you use it? And two, the service. And those are the things I think are the most important. And I was interested in these guys, and then Kai, from a person who's coming from a POS company. Do you guys agree with that statement? Is that what makes point of sale different, or is there another feature I'm missing that makes things stand out? There are lots of things merchants need, but that make us, that are absolutely have to have. Let's go, Danny. What do you think?
Well, Kai is going to nail this one. I'm going to totally butcher it because, granted, this is, and Brian Linke,
there we lost him. Got the frozen Danny. So.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't hear that. Dan, let's hear that again.
Let's try that again. Try it again.
All right. I said Kai's going to crush it, and me and Brian are in the same position of, there's so many different things on these point of sale systems. We really rely heavily on Robert Kramer, Matt Proctor, and their team because they're just so specialized in knowing all these systems. I mean, just from what we hear, Nate, I think you're spot on, is speed, reliability, ease of use. But then these additional features, right, that are going to help them stand out, like Kai was just talking about, with the easy way of adding online ordering and things like that. They're going to help these merchants pivot and start doing things that they haven't done before. I know Kai's probably got more than that, but that's kind of the nutshell of what I think. Brian, what do you think?
Well, I can tell you this. I mean, when you say speed, I think user-friendly is probably a better term, in my opinion. So in any merchant, when you put something in front of them and it's user-friendly, you can get on the phone with, and again, so the service part of it is people answering the phone. And I know Kai's got, Dan over there who has been, every time I've called that guy, he answers the phone. And if he doesn't answer the phone, he calls me right back, which is something that, again, separates any company. I mean, it's a thing that here at PayProtect, we try to do is answer the phone. If we don't answer the phone, leave a message, we call you back. But again, I think user-friendly, and people answering the phone and getting back to you via email or text or whatever. And I think that's what's made, and Kai, you can elaborate on this, your company so successful.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for saying that. That's good to hear coming from partners. That is something we do believe in. I think, let's be honest, guys. And in the day, most POS companies, a lot of the functions and features and functionalities are going to be very, very similar. I do believe that we are by far the absolute most user-friendly system out there. And that's been confirmed by many of our merchants over the years. But But more importantly than that, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, let's face it, we're all selling a computer, right? I mean, that's really what it is. And computers are going to have problems. Computers are going to go down. And really, I think what sets one company apart from the other in this industry is service. And that's something that we pride ourselves on. It's all about the service. You know, that's, you know, the average customer or average merchant is going to take probably, you know, from the time they start thinking about changing POS, the time they actually pull the trigger it probably is going to take them about 3 to 5 weeks. But then once they get that system in, they're going to own it for 3 to 5 years or maybe longer. And I think that's where we want to shine. And of course, that's why, you know, we do everything from, as you fellas all know, from the minute they sign up, they get that introduction call from their project manager, and it's going to be a dedicated project manager, which is very different from a lot of these other systems now that are on subscription base. They treat it kind of like as a DIY. So for us, you know, whether it's a dedicated project manager hand-holding you throughout your entire setup installation process, to our support team and constantly being there for you, those are the things that we're proud of.
I mean, and Nate, you know, just to piggyback on what Kai's saying, I mean, you had mentioned earlier, I think you said 10,000 point of sale companies out there in the U.S. Of course,
big number, Mel.
It's a big number, right? And they have, like Kai said, you know, we're selling a computer and it comes down to service. The majority of them are very similar, if not identical in a lot of ways, right? At least at their core. And then they have niche offerings and niche features and things like that, you know, so it comes down to a few of those expanded things, but Kai's so right? It's the service, the reliability of the system, but more importantly, you know, the response that they get, the support that they get, and the comfortability that they have using that in their business. Because, you know, there's a lot of options, and that's just the best way to stand out. I couldn't agree more, Kai.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think one of the things is, when you're identifying which partners you want to work with, you identify, one, are they a company that you trust and that you see them lasting for a long time? And two, do they take care of the most important things really well first? There are going to be lots of features, because it's the little small things that differentiate across POS companies. But if they don't take care of the core stuff of being able to take an order quick, being able to take care of a quick call when you need a service and support, if you can't take care of those things, you're not going to last for a long time. So That's one of the things we're so glad to have partners like Kai, who are wonderful to work with. We love hanging out with. We look forward to being in person again sometime in the near future, Kai, as we get to travel again. But we also love that you take care of the merchants that we bring to you, and you give them a product that they can use and helps their business. And on top of that, they will get the support they need when problems happen, because they all do. And that makes such a difference. All right, gentlemen, we've got last comment there, Danny?
Nope.
All right, so on that, we're going to close up. We're going to bring some music up in a little background here, and we're going to closing words. So, Kai, I didn't prep you for this, but we have our closing words of encouragement. We're going into the weekend. It's May 1st. This is a big weekend because we are starting a new month, and when May ends and Memorial Day comes, and then we're coming to June, we are going to be a different nation, focused on making sure that we are doing the things to help us grow, to make this time that it was absolutely redeemed, and that, yes, we've gone through some trauma, some hardships, but we get off the mat and we keep moving. And so I'm interested, gentlemen, as we finish our high five for this first day of May, what do you have to say to our team, to our partners, or anyone watching this later in the day or even through the weekend, as we say, let's go? What's our encouragement to them today?
Yeah, I'll start off. You know, I woke up this morning more optimistic than I have been through this entire time. I mean, starting a new month, it's a whole new opportunity, right? I mean, I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm seeing things that are coming out on the other side, but we've still got a ways to go. But we've got a lot to look forward to. So I was going to have a beer on here this morning with Kai to kind of celebrate Friday and kick off a new month, but I promise I will at 5 o'clock, and I look forward to a great month with everybody. Stay positive. Have a good weekend.
All right, and Mr. Brian Linke, Kai will make you go third in this group. Brian, what do you have to say?
I gave a shout out the other day to our POS team with with Tim and Matt Proctor and Morgan and Bob Kramer. But I also want to give a shout out to my people and Danny and I talk numerous times a day, but we've got Jenny Reichel and Jason Lee Cook and Darlene Krollman and Jerry Hoskins, Billy West, Michael Thomas Nix, Mike Stetzel, Jen Sales, who was on here yesterday, Pamela Bailey, Paul Kent, Josh Brown, Tim Callahan, John West. I miss you guys, and it's a new month, and I can't wait to get back. Oh, Cam Hoskins, forgot Cam Hoskins. Can't wait to get back and see all of you.
It's going to be a good month. And Kai, thank you so much for joining us today, for gracing us with some of your time and some of your expertise. What are you telling your family and friends during these times to keep us encouraged and focused on what we're going to be, not what we've gone through? Absolutely.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for having me here today. This is awesome. This is very, very fun. As far as everybody out there that's watching, wish you the best. Stay safe, first of all, during this time. Be smart, and most importantly, stay positive. I kind of echo Danny's sentiment earlier in terms of just having a great outlook and just feeling excited and pumped about what's coming up ahead. Because I really do believe that despite during these times, despite your politics, one thing I think we all do agree on, and trust me, this is from someone that has to travel a lot around the world for business. We do live in the greatest country in the world. So that is absolutely true. And so, I can't wait to get back out there and get things going again. And, I'm looking forward to it. So stay safe, stay positive, and, hope to see you guys very soon, hopefully in Vegas.
Absolutely.
All right. So on that, Kai probably hasn't heard our theme song, but we'll close off with that. And we will see you guys on March 4th, or March 4th, May 4th on Monday, right around 10 o'clock a.m. We'll come with another show. We have some big announcements at PayProTech next week. We're going to be launching all kinds of great things, including starting on Monday, so you've got to pay attention. Make sure you're listening. We have so much going on. It's time for another high five, everybody. We appreciate you, and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
The high five. We'll see you on Monday.